Good evening, everybody. This is Travis Smith with Contractor Connection. I am here on our second to last Wednesday of the month. Interesting week so far. We're going to go over some of the economics of construction that are going on right now, what we're seeing in the Austin area. And then we're going to talk about interest rates just a little bit. And we'll talk about some of the advancements that are coming up, new features that we're adding, and some things that have happened in the past week or so, just to give you all some updates on that. So if you'll give me just a second to share this around to the other groups, then we will get this rolling. 20 seconds. All right, there we go. So like I said, was going to have two guests on today, but one had a conflicting schedule come up and another one had a family tragedy. I'm praying for them. So it'll be just me and won't be as long of a show, but we'll have some good stuff. So we had the Fed come out, talk today, and he's talking about not he, it's more of the collective, but they're going to talk about cutting rates quarter of a point, most likely in September, almost certainly. And that's already priced in, although we did see another slight move down today, about 5 basis points in the 10-year. We saw last week a 16.8% jump in mortgage applications, and then we saw a 10% drop this week. But I don't think that 10% drop is as bad as it seems, just because 16% is such a huge number. 10% down from that is still a good number for early August. I do think that right now, specifically in the Austin area, we are at, if you could do like an XY axis, we're at like one of the best points you could be as to where interest rates are and home prices are. If you're a first-time home buyer, if you're somebody moving into the area, etc. If you bought your home pre-COVID to about 2017 or 16, you probably still don't have a lot of motivation to move. And even though I'm a real estate agent who makes money by when people sell houses, I'm here to tell you it's still not the best time if it's optional to sell a house. It just isn't. It's a great time to be a buyer. It's an amazing time to be a buyer, but it's still not in Austin the best time to be a seller. Obviously, not everybody sells because they want to. It's out of necessity, but just a heads up on that. And so what we've seen really play out in Austin over the past 18 months, over 2 years now, is construction with about a 6-month lag that follows real estate. And construction, there's a lot of very good companies. I talk to a lot of people constantly who are in the business. And this is one of the hardest years they've had. And I'm talking about people who have been in the business 5 years or 25 years. Things are tight right now. There's not a lot of people out there flipping because, unless you have a really good buy-in, it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's not a lot of burrs happening because rents are dropping here in Austin. And so those don't make as much sense. And so we've lost the majority of the investors that were doing a lot of the construction work. And then you top it off, retail, people don't have as much money to spend right now as they did a couple years ago. And that all adds up to where a couple years ago, you couldn't get anybody, not a single company that wasn't booked out a month or two. There's a lot of people that are really struggling and looking for work. And I think that that'll probably continue through this winter. But I think in February and March, we'll see it pick back up to some normalcy. Like I said, we're following about a 6-month lag on real estate. And I think by this time next year, real estate is going to be much more balanced than it is right now. We went from a very heavy seller's market to right now a very heavy buyer's market. And once we get more buyers in, there's all sorts of buyers as y'all know, especially if you're an agent, they'll walk into a house and they're going to buy that house. And the first thing they're going to do is they're going to rip everything out of it. They're going to tear it up. And so we know that there is a really good relationship between real estate and construction. And like I said, we should only be on about a 6-month lag. I think that'll pick up towards the beginning of next year. And just in the meantime, we have to market as best we can, pull in as many jobs as we can, and just know that the bad times don't last any longer than the good times do. So that's kind of the macro overview for Austin. I know in Dallas and in Houston, it's a little bit healthier there right now. Houston obviously had the hurricane hit there. If you're in fencing or in trees and you can get to Houston, then they need you there. Like I talked to a couple people who they can't find fence crews and fence companies that aren't booked out weeks in advance. That hurricane seemed to do a particular number on those, not so much roofs, although there's a bunch of roofs out there being redone as well. So Houston is doing well. Dallas actually they didn't have the same kind of spike that Austin did in 20 and 21 and early 22. So they haven't had the same kind of decline. It has slowed a little bit there. But Dallas is still moving pretty well too. And we see it in that group. There's a lot of work that's been getting posted in the Dallas group lately, which is exciting because on the 15th of next month, we're going to switch over to our verified system. And we can't wait to bring that to the Dallas-Fort Worth area of having verified contractors that they can rely on, that they know had their reviews checked, they're insured. We don't just check the insurance the first time that a person applies. We go through and we audit those. And if we find some that aren't, we send it out to the owner, letting them know, and they have 30 days to correct that. Licensed if applicable. So we have a pretty decent vetting process. And when we bring that to DFW and we expand that in the Houston area, that's going to continue like it did in Austin to draw in a lot more customers and clients who are looking for that. They're searching for somebody that they could trust, that will get them through being able to do a project with something that they don't really understand, and so it's really important. We did this with the group before we even verified it, but it's even more important now to try and help direct money to the companies that do it the right way, that have the good things, that show up what they say they're going to, that follow up on their warranties, that basically they are the good companies, and we want to drive business towards them. And I get a lot of people who don't like me, who aren't in for some reason, the $15 a month really bothers them, or they don't have great reviews. There's a number of reasons that we've rejected people, but they get upset with me, but there's a reason that we're doing this, and it's worked out really well in Austin. Our group absolutely mushroomed once we started this program, from 19,000, and we just got over 50,000 last week. Dallas is going crazy right now. Houston's closing in really quickly on 20,000, and we started to put some ad dollars into a lot of those spaces as well, which has started to bring in more jobs to those. So it's been kind of interesting and fun to watch. We'll start our happy hours back in Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio for September. We're going to be doing them for October. And then, as we've talked about, we have the barbecue cook-off, the Austin barbecue cook-off at Oak Hill Social, November 9th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., $20, all you can eat barbecue. There will be alcohol served, games. We're going to build a shed. We're going to blow up a turkey and a frozen turkey in a fryer. It's just going to be a blast. We have a bunch of already awesome sponsors lined up, signing up for this. And we'll start selling tickets tomorrow afternoon. So really excited to see how that goes. And we'll be doing a tacos and tequila in Houston as well. If you went to the tacos and tequila here in Austin, we had hundreds of people at that. It was an absolute blast. We were at Builder Supply Group. Thank you again to them for hosting. it was an amazing time. We had so much fun. We had so many connections be made. And I'm not going to lie, I had a lot of tequila that night. So I had a good time. And we'll start bringing those bigger events to Dallas and San Antonio early next year, too. We love throwing these. They're a really cool way to do. We like to, obviously, on our happy hours, they're mostly B2B, business to business. But we like to have these big events that pull in the general public that are potential clients, that can bring in real estate folks, that can bring in all sorts of different people. And we can meet them face to face, shake their hand, give them a hug, however it is that you like to interact with people. And it gives you a huge advantage 3, 6 months, 9 months, even a year later. They're looking for somebody to do something. They're like, oh, I remember meeting so-and-so on that barbecue cook-off where they blew that turkey up. Don't you remember that? And then we'll have cool things like that continue to come along. But that's about all the blabbering I'm going to do. I thank you all for watching. I know it's a lot more interesting when I have guests on, and we will have them next week. They've already been rescheduled, and I have some for the rest of the month. So hopefully no more family tragedies for obvious reasons. But thank you all for watching, and I will see y'all same bat time, same bat channel.